Welcome back to the Explainer. So usually we're totally buried in data, right? We've got statistics, endless paragraphs to sift through, the whole shebang. But what happens when a document gives us almost nothing at all? Today we're diving into a profoundly minimalist piece of source material. It kind of forces us to do all the heavy lifting because it only offers a handful of carefully chosen, incredibly mysterious words. We're talking about a text so stripped down that the empty space actually carries as much weight as the words themselves. Let's jump right into this modern mystery. The secret life of satellites. Just take a second and let that phrase sit there. On the surface, it sounds like the title of a sci-fi novel, right? Or maybe some classified government dossier. But when you really look at this solitary phrase, which, by the way, makes up the absolute core of our source material today, it sets this incredibly heavy philosophical tone. It takes something we totally take for granted, the thousands of metal objects silently orbiting our planet right now, and casts them in this completely unrecognizable light. We're going to break this phrase down word by concept to uncover the massive narrative friction the author engineered in literally just 5 words. All right, let's start by defining a secret, and specifically that active will to hide something. The intention baked into this definition is absolutely fascinating, because think about it, a secret isn't just something you happen to not know, it's something that is meant to be kept unknown. It implies this active will to hide. And when we apply that to a satellite, it immediately flips our perspective upside down. We build satellites to uncover secrets, right? We send them up there to map the Earth, to spy on things, to gather data, essentially to pierce the veil of the unknown. But the text asks us to ponder, what does it mean for an object orbiting silently above us to possess its own elements that are intentionally hidden from our perception? If a satellite has a secret, who or what is keeping it? That brings us to the implication of life, and this whole idea of organic evolution. The really crucial point here is that life involves the capacity for growth, functional activity, and continual change. When we talk about life, we're talking about biology, right? Breath, consciousness, organic evolution. But the source material is using this exact word to describe machinery. Unpacking this provocative tension is totally key to understanding the document. By assigning life to things we universally consider cold, dead objects floating in the vacuum of space, the text basically forces us to reconsider the very nature of these machines. Are they just executing code? Or, in their total isolation up there, have they developed some unseen functional activity? Have they grown? Have they changed in ways their human creators never even programmed them to? The author is deliberately blurring the line between the organic and the artificial here. Now let's compare that to these mechanical observers and our baseline reality. To really grasp this radical idea, we've got to look at reality. A satellite is, by definition, an artificial body. It's placed in orbit. It's a tool. We're talking titanium, silicon, solar panels, and wiring. No heartbeat. It's subjected to the freezing cold and searing heat of space, just performing rigid mathematical functions. Emphasizing this stark mechanical reality sets up this central paradox hidden right there in our brief source text. We know what a satellite is, and we know it absolutely cannot, by any scientific definition, possess life. And yet, the text insists that it does. When you actually compare these ideas, it builds into this explosive contradiction. On one side, we've got the secret life, concepts that are deeply organic, inherently hidden, and imply some level of consciousness or subjective experience. And on the other side, satellites, objects that are entirely artificial, cold, and purely mechanical. By forcing these two profoundly opposing concepts together, the author creates massive narrative friction. They don't even give us an explanation. They just slam these two opposing magnetic poles together and let us deal with the sparks. In merely 5 words, the text has completely dismantled our understanding of the technology surrounding our planet. And here's where it gets really crazy: the missing excerpts and the silent void. If we look super closely at the raw source material, it literally begins with the phrase excerpts from. Now think about what that word actually promises. An excerpt guarantees that a larger body of work exists somewhere. It tells us, hey, here is a tiny fragment of a much larger, much more comprehensive document. It sets up the expectation that we're about to read passages or data points or narratives pulled from some complete study. The text explicitly frames itself as just a tiny window into a vast unseen volume of knowledge about these satellites. But look at the document. Where's the rest of the text? Well, there isn't any. After that introductory framing of excerpts from the secret life of satellites, the document just repeats the title, The Secret Life of Satellites. And then it just ends. There are no paragraphs, no data tables. It is literally just white space. We really have to lean into this sheer absence because, guys, this void is not a mistake. It's not just a lack of information. This profound emptiness is actually the ultimate manifestation of the secret itself. Let's break down this structural irony for a second. First, we get the promise of excerpts. It's like the author extends a hand, offering us a glimpse into this hidden world. Second, we get the delivery, which is nothing but a solitary title. The hand just gets pulled back. And third, we are left with this resulting profound silence. The absolute absence of data violently forces us to confront the unknown directly. If the author had written, say, 100 pages explaining what the satellites were doing, it would just be a cool story. But by offering us a title and then deliberately withholding the text, we're forced to experience the secrecy firsthand. The medium is the message here. The text is hidden from us, exactly like the secret life of the satellites is hidden from humanity. So that brings us to our final takeaway, a provocative unknown and a lingering thought. Let's return to the original text one last time. When we first looked at this, it was just a string of 5 words, right? But through our close reading, we've totally transformed it. We've seen how it pits biology against mechanics. We've seen how the author basically weaponized the word secret. And most importantly, we've seen how the structural promise of excerpts was used to create this huge silent void. So this isn't just a simple title anymore. It's a towering, unresolved enigma. It acts like a mirror, reflecting our own anxieties about the technology we rely on every single day, just floating silently in the dark above us. And so, this incredibly sparse, honestly brilliant piece of source material leaves us with one lingering, inescapable thought. The next time you walk outside at night and you look up at the stars, and you spot that slow, steady point of light moving across the blackness of the sky, you kind of have to wonder if they truly have a life of their own, and if their actions are intentionally kept unseen. What exactly are they hiding from us?